So that again is right here. Here's our original bond beam. Now we take another piece of rebar and we splice it 20 inches, and then we just erect it high. Now when the fellows begin to build this wall, they have to take the block wall, put it over the rebar and down, and then do their joints. That's the best way to do this. Hopefully they'll be able to build this wall with this particular design, and hopefully they'll be able to. I've mentioned here 6, 8, 16 block. I don't know if that's the size it is, but nonetheless, whatever it is, they still need to use this, because the wall is 10 feet high, use the 5/8 inch diameter rebar, and they have to grout solid. That's hopefully what they'll do. I'm hearing stories that they're not grouting every cell or whatever, but over here, and I know in Canada, we probably do things a little bit more solid than they do anywhere else in third world countries. But hopefully the Lord will provide for them to grout this wall solid. So it's very, very important that they try to grout solid. Every cell, the whole distance of the whole building, grout, 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 the whole building. Okay, CJ? So that's real important. Now, so here we have, let me catch myself up here. Remember I showed you detail 1, and I just showed you that detail right here of how we're going to build it, how this thing should do. And then here's the total height. I put a note here, CJ, it says C note A. Now I'm going to shoot over camera to note A. Okay, and it says here, build wall to 3 feet bond beam, grout entirely to top of cells prior to continuing to 10-foot height. Splice all vertical 5/8 rebars protruding from top of 3-foot bond beam 20 inches with other 5/8 inch sticks of rebar, and complete to the scheduled 10-foot height. Grout entire building to top of wall. I'm hoping you guys will be able to do that, and there's a budget for that. Now, so follow the notes, okay, buddy? Follow the notes, and this should perform well. Now, let's go to detail number. Remember on the other page I told you that I showed you a little the septic tank, and it said section. Let's go back to that. Here it is right here. I said I have section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4. Okay, now that's on page 1 that shows the complete layout. Now let's go to the page we just came off of, and here's the detail to put those walls together. Now, CJ, this is detail number 2. Now, try to pay attention as closely as you can, because without my knowledge of them knowing how to do pour in place, it's very difficult for me to try to just depend on what skills they have down there. So the Lord put it on my heart to go ahead and show them how to form this thing up. It was a little bit more work, but I think it's necessary. Now, this is section 1, this is section 2, okay? They're going to work opposite each other because they're going to be part of a marriage that has to be built first before section 3 and 4. Now, if you notice right here, CJ, it says from the top of the, first thing we're going to do is see this little squiggly line. That's the pit you're digging. All right, it's going to be here, and it's going to come up again. It says here 6 inches top of actual grade. That means that the top of this septic tank will be sticking out 6 inches from the top of grade. So that means everybody's going to have to dig down 5 feet, because the whole entire thing is 5 feet deep. Okay? Now, one note I need to mention, and please don't let anyone forget this. Who's ever going to be pouring this thing, after you've pretty much formed, what this is here, let me just go here. Temporary, it says here, see these arrows pointing to this piece of lumber and this piece of lumber? If you'll notice where it's coming from, the note says temporary 2x4 bulkhead bracing. It's typical. So we're going to, whatever kind of system they have down there to hold this piece of plywood, see this plywood right there? It's hatched. That's all it is plywood. I don't know what you guys have there, but anyway, that's what that basically is plywood. And this is the 2x4, and it's holding is this piece of 2x4 here is running crossways, and so is this one here, and then this one here is nailed into that one, and they're probably going to be nailed in maybe 16-inch on center, so they press against both sides, because you're going to, after you dig the hole, you got to establish this plywood in a place so that this becomes 6 inches, and then you're going to pour this thing wild. But before you do, note here, this has a little pedestal sticking out, and this one here is a little bit higher than this side. Why? Because we're going to try to design a plate or some type of a basket system that can set on this to here with a little bit of a slope angle on it, so that when the debris comes in this solid line, it says there's solid 4-inch PVC, and this debris is coming in from the bathrooms, okay? So when the debris comes in, the liquid's going to drop, and so is the solid waste, the toilet paper, what have you. And we're going to be able to pull this basket up later on, and they'll be able to burn the material, but yet the liquids will settle down into the bottom of this thing. Now, the bottom of this thing, I don't have a bottom on it because I needed to put these numbers in here, but the bottom is really about right here. So we want it to be about a 4-inch thick piece of slab of concrete, the rest of it dirt, kind of sloped in this configuration, so that when the liquids drop from here to here down into this basket, into the well, they'll be able to drop. So see here, it says here, continued solid PVC to distribution box. Now, this pipe is just below the drop, so that means then the slope will be from the bottom of this to the bottom of this. So it'll be about from here to here, be 4 inches, and then the rest of it is all dirt. But we just want to maintain that slope. So if you set your form to 2 feet this side, section 2, set your form to 2 feet 6 this side, section 1, you'll get this slope in here, and later on they can design a basket that'll set into this little ledge, so that later on when they pull the lid off of the top of this thing, they can take that basket out, burn the debris, put the basket in, and let the liquid take over from there. Okay, so that's the idea there. So basically these are just temporary members here. This says here 2x4 wood, if at all possible you guys have that around. Just use them or whatever you can to keep this bulkhead in place, so that when you pour the concrete, we have this form. Okay, that's what we're looking for. So once section 1, section 2 are done, then you can do section 3, section 4. Now what I've done here, CJ, I've established 2x4. Okay, it says here 1/2-inch plywood bulkhead. This is typical all around, and this is what it looks like cross section. Let me see. Yeah, so we're dealing with the same section here, section 1 and section 2. So this is the plywood. It says bottom bulkhead detail 1/2-inch plywood right here. Now see these cross members here? This is 2x4 used for bulkhead bracing. Here again, 6 inches top of actual grade. Everything is pretty consistent with detail 1 as far as the grade is concerned, except for this is the cross section. So this is looking at it. This would be looking at it. On the other side of this plywood would be the finish face. This is where our pipe is, a solid 4-inch PVC. Now here again I have a note here, see note B? Let's shoot over to it. Here we are, note B, and let me read that for you. It says here, prior to pour in place walls for septic tank, section 1, a 4-inch solid PVC pipe must be installed where occurs as per detail number 1. Okay, and then you cut the excess pipe either flush with the side of the wall or leave a section protruding out of the wall 1 inch or not greater than 3 inches after the pour. You field verify, meaning that once you get that pipe set in there, okay, you know, run out about 3 inches or whatever, just leave it in there in the pour. Pour your mud and everything. Then when this section's done, then you can cut it off, either flush with the face of the finish or leave it out a little bit, as long as it's out enough to drop into the basket. So that's basically what that note means, okay? So it's important that we set these pipes in prior to the pour, all right? Hopefully they'll have some sort of concrete cloth, protective cloth to wrap around these pipes. I don't know. But you know what? Anything will work. If they've got, I don't know, I mean, anything will work to encase the pipe if all possible, because we don't want direct concrete on the pipe itself if we can help it. So if you can find some sort of a covering to shelter the pipe before the pour, so it stays in there, so the concrete that surrounds the pipes aren't going to destroy the pipe over time, that'll be a good thing. So try to maintain that thought, okay? So again, I'm sure you understand that we want, after we set this pipe in before the pour, so all this form stuff, the pipe will be in there, all the form stuff, the ditch will probably be already dug back in here somewhere, so this pipe will be able to lay in there sticking out, and then you'll cut it later after the form's all done. So I'm sure you got that now, okay? So basically all this detail shows you, CJ, is how this thing should be constructed. I'm not sure what their ability is to do pour in place like this, but this is how we would do it here in the States. Okay, buddy? All right. So if I go down, I'm just basically showing the same thing for sections. This is section 3 and 4. There's no pipe in this one. It's just the walls. So this would be section 3 and 4. It's just basically flat wall. And here again is the section. See, it says nothing protruding from it, nothing protruding from it. Here again, I'm just showing you guys how to pretty much, here again, you got this squiggly line is the ditch that you're digging down, which is a 5-foot deep ditch. It's all consistent, 5 feet deep. I'll put this number in here later, but right now it's not there. Again, now, there is an option also, CJ. I've noted here, top of actual grade is 6 inches. Well, now, if we wanted to, we could bury this whole thing 6 inches below, and then put dirt over the top of it. Now, the reason why I'm saying that, and still have a lid on it, the reason I'm saying that is because in this way, the dirt can also act as a sealer for any smell. So that can be taken into consideration. In other words, dig this thing down even 9 inches deeper. So in other words, so the top of the wall can be 9 inches deeper into the grade, and then just put it over the dirt, and then there'll be some sort of a system, your physical system knowing where this thing is, so when it's time to clean it up, brush away the dirt, pull the lid up, pull the basket out, clean it, and then put it back, and then put the dirt back over. Option 2, okay? Actually, I like option 2 better than this here, leaving this thing up above, because then there's always going to be this constant fear of continual smell. And even here in the States, when we have the privilege of having water cleanup facilities, we still smell debris. So take that into consideration, okay? All right. So anyway, let me see anything here. Okay, now let's look at these other details. I showed you the section drawing. CMU stands for Concrete Masonry Unit. That's a typical nomenclature we use here in the States to call what a wall is, okay? And here in this particular case here, we're going to build this wall to 10 feet high because this will be the top of the wall. Now, your pitch is going to go up like this, okay? This is how the footage got to look all the way throughout the whole thing. Now, I've noted here where we want our rebar. In the footing, we're going to use 1/2 inch, but in the actual raising of the wall, we're going to use 5/8 rebar. Also, we're going to use 5/8 rebar on the horizontal. Now, if they can build this thing that way and grout this thing, they're going to have a better chance of surviving any of those volcano shakers that may come periodically. So I had told Pastor Mike that when I design this thing, I'm going to design it primarily to be able to take on any of those attitudes of the earthquakes, the volcano that might want to show itself on a periodic basis. This